Like, how much are we going to listen to ourselves now?
Oh, now I'm really going to listen to myself. I'm like, hey, girl, how you doing today? This is so crazy to be sitting right here. Oh, your hands are so soft.
Thanks. I just lotioned up for you.
I'm like a scaly girl. Oh my God. Hi.
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 We're back. And we made it. And we're here.
Okay, this is the first I've heard my voice and
A long time.
like it's the first time.
It's the first time in forever.
Looks like we made it. Welcome back. It is season 5. We made it in person. We are in person. If you're just listening, know that we are so excited. We're holding hands. We are jumping with joy to finally be in this precious little studio with fancy little mics and sounding so good.
Yes,
and
we are.
we're so happy you're here.
We are happy. And if you're just joining us, and because our voices might sound a little clearer and a little different, so let me introduce myself. I am Tara and my co-host Victoria, and we are so happy you're with us for Frequency Broads. It has felt like it's been, God, years since we've recorded something.
Ugh.
And I know it's because every week we feel like a new person. So since it's been weeks, I'm like, oh my God, who the hell was I in season 4? I don't even know.
Season 4 felt like dimension number 4, kind of that in-between state. Now we're representing the 5D. But also, we got a few surprises. We're going to keep things fresh for you. Should we tell them now or later?
What's the surprise? I'm like, don't say that on air. What's the surprise? Wait, I forget how I worded it. What was the surprise? What are you talking about?
That we're going to be playing with some spirits.
Oh, I'm sure we are. It's in the books for us. So let me give you a backdrop real quick. We are currently sitting in a small, tiny closet, pretty much, at my school where I work. And the 6th grade, the middle school has started a podcast, and they so gracefully offered us the space as well. So that's where we are currently. Now, this school is, we'll just say, quite entertaining at night. Yeah. So we have some otherworldly beings, not our typical Pleiadian brothers and sisters, but some middle ground, just over the border, aka across the bridge, aka on the other side, that are residing in this school. There is one particular who loves to make himself known consistently. So I am sure he will be joining us at some point. Maybe he is here.
I see him already.
I was going to say, he might be right here. You might be hearing things that we're not hearing currently, but we will be hearing in the recording potentially throughout the season. So we have a lot of potential interesting moments ahead because he is very eager to be witnessed, we'll say. And he's not something to be worried about, but he's definitely a little chaotic.
Okay, and you said otherworldly, but he's very much stuck in the earthly plane.
Oh,
so we want to like acknowledge that it's important to be fully present in your body as much as it is to learn how to leave your body and to feel, what's the right word we want to say? Confident in leaving your body. And I think how you get confident in leaving your body is you don't leave any loose ends. You tie up any unfinished business. Or you get stuck.
Yeah, and he's definitely told me that he is stuck. He needs help crossing over, and I will get to that at some point. There's also like, and it's so funny that we're starting with this topic and the concept of like being in your body and being in the 3D and not always escaping to the 5D and all that, because that's a lot of what I want to talk about today. Is that dimension hopping, is that experiencing it all at once, and the necessity of being human, the necessity of being in the third dimension. But first, it's going to be our first freak check, girl.
Ooh.
How you feeling?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I have been battling a lot of immune issues. I feel like everyone around me has had COVID or is sick in some capacity. And it's so fascinating how my brain immediately thinks like, oh my God, do I have COVID? Is this sort of like a booster? Is my body fighting COVID? Are these ascension symptoms, which we've experienced many, many a times that very much feel like illness in the body? Is this my body's call to rest more, to be nourished more? It's so interesting to look at sickness and illness from the lens of what is happening to me energetically and how do I tend to it, as opposed to rushing to the medicine cabinet and getting the Mucinex and the whatever. Love me some ibuprofen, but it's so fascinating when you really think about all the medicine today, modern medicine that was inspired by, plant medicine. Ibuprofen stemmed from willow medicine. Fact check me on that.
Comment below if she's wrong. Because I don't know.
But TMI, like I've been battling ringworm, which I jokingly said to Tara, I'm like, I bet I wouldn't have gotten this if I was dating a woman, but I, ignored it for a really long time, and it just bubbled to the surface and said, you better deal with me now. So thank God for modern medicine and certain prescriptions that would otherwise, not totally knocking modern medicine, but first and foremost, ask your body what it needs. My body definitely needed that cream. I don't want to blow your cover here, but Tara also had it last year, and it is a really interesting, like, there are no worms involved. I don't know.
No, I know.
Like a lot of people hear that and they're just like, what are you talking about? Like it's a fungal infection. Yeah. I was like, have I been eating too many mushrooms? Like what?
Probably.
Well, no, it came from like a gym. I'll leave it at that. Aside from that, I'm really loving my job. I feel good.
Good.
I feel happy to be here with you in person.
I love how you're like, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I have ringworm. You're like, the only thing I'm going to tell you right now is I'm rocking ringworm.
In my armpits, it's very itchy. Like it's... Okay, I'm done.
This is what it means to be your true, authentic self, ladies and gentlemen. Out in the open. I also experienced ringworm, as Victoria said, last year. And it's funny that you are talking about energy upgrades, because I felt at the time last year, it was back to back to back. And I know scientifically, like my immune system was low. So of course I picked up other things, but I went from COVID to RSV to ringworm very quickly. And I held off using modern medicine as long as possible, because that was my view, is I am getting shit flushed out and I am recalibrating right now, and it needs to be down on a cellular level. And I used natural medicine for a very long time until I said, wow, it's been too long. Time to get the prescription. But I've also been feeling this, not physical sickness per se, but But energy upgrade for sure. I think for me, since our last break or since our last season, I had a lot of really fast downloads and realizations about myself and about the way I move in the world and the cycles that I'm in, the things that I'm so good at. I'm like, oh, fuck, here's a very obvious one that I have avoided. So there was a lot going on energetically in that sense, right? I'm like flushing out all this old, I'm like recognizing it in real time and being like, oh, I'm going to do something different. And then speaking to that and saying, hey, I chose something different. And then all of a sudden it shifted to this moment of like, I think I described it to you as like splitting, right? There was another version of me like just outside my body. And there was this consistent like push away from me, ourselves, me and the other version of me pushing away where we're separating more while I'm also simultaneously pulling and trying to merge. And it just felt like this really weird energetic space to be in where I was like, I'm grounded, but I'm not, and I'm okay, but I'm not. And I just felt really flighty and weird and kind of just like floating in nothingness while also being in everything. And then now I'm hitting the wave of like more, not that I'm feeling physically sick, but just exhausted. Now my physical body is starting to like integrate all of the downloads and shifts that I've been making recently. And I'm noticing that, first of all, literally everyone is sick. Half the school is out, including teachers. Andrew was sick. My sister's sick. Her partner's sick. You were sick. Literally
5 minutes in, Andrew. Shout out, Andrew.
Actually, it's like 13 minutes in, depending on how I cut this. But everyone was really sick. And me and another friend, not saying that you're not where you are, you know what I mean? It's not talking about you. But she was saying she's feeling the same way that I was. And how it's weird that we're not getting sick. Like everyone around me is like, I'm smoking with them. I'm breathing on them. I'm like, I'm not trying to avoid the sickness. Take me out of work. I still got sick days. You know what I mean? But I said to her, I feel like the solar flares came in so motherfucking strong. And for those who, what maybe it is immune system in part, but for those who were making sure that they tended to themselves energetically, not saying that you didn't.
I also traveled.
Yeah.
So that was a whole nother beast of my immune system being challenged.
For sure. But I feel like those, in my perspective, in my circle, those who have been recently tending to their energy and paying attention got really tired and felt really weird. Those who haven't been got really sick. And I feel like the solar flares came down and gave everybody an energetic update. And if you weren't already kind of recharging your cells and reworking your cells, then they were like, okay, well, we need to break down your immune system, break everything down to like kind of program, reset things. So I'm definitely on the train of taking every sickness as much as I can take it without any medicine, even plant medicine. I'm like, I can take my ginger pills. I can take my, I almost said Oregon. What's the freaking oregano?
Oregano. I actually mistyped Oregon and wrote oregano. And I was like, how funny. Portland oregano.
Seattle basil. But I'm right there with you. I really do feel like sickness is a way, even stepping away from energetics, sickness is a way for your body to purge, reset, and become stronger because now you know how to fight that thing, or you got rid of whatever you got rid of. So when we're tending to the symptoms, we're not letting our body do the thing that you're not supposed to. Unless you're at like a 105, you're not supposed to take something to lower your fever because your fever is what's fighting off whatever it is you're dealing with. So right on par with you there.
And solar flares, I think aka Northern Lights, that so many of us got to witness, Tara was asleep, like dead asleep.
Yeah. No, Andrew was like, I shook you so hard and you didn't even move that I had to check your breathing. He's like, I've never seen you sleep that hard.
Which is probably why you're not feeling all this shit that we're feeling.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because Andrew saw him too, right?
Andrew saw them.
Yeah. Yep. You were so protected.
Well, it's interesting because during the solar eclipse, I was like, oof, I got to cover my head.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I got to let it filter through. Can't come right into my crown.
Yep.
So, you know, at first I got really upset. Like, I was so sad when I woke up and saw everyone's pictures. And I was like, oh my God, my one chance. And immediately I was like, oh no, girl, they put you to sleep. They knocked you the fuck out because you couldn't handle energetically what was pooling down from the cosmos at that moment. And
it also looked like a lot being extracted too. It was fascinating to see this kind of, well, burst of the geomagnetic flares, right? The solar flares are also, you know, the result of the Northern Lights, and they're unpredictable. So we rarely know. We have like 24-hour notice, usually 24 to 48-hour notice, and they can be measured by the Schumann resonance scale. So it is really interesting to see that spike, and it has been spiking quite a bit since, since 2020, right? But it did very much feel like the sun coming in and obliterating a lot of dense energy, and to see that matter kind of dissipate. And this is like, we always talk cellular, right? But when it comes to Earth and the sky and the cosmos, we talk particles. And so there were just intense light particles. Molly McCord, we love, well, I listen to Molly McCord every week, and she calls these sun particles neutrinos, and I'm obsessed with the word neutrino. And all I can think of when I look at people's Northern Light photos are like, oh, look at all those neutrinos, even though neutrinos are like more cellular than that. But fun little vocabulary word for you. I'm like, you're just staring at me.
I'm watching you, girl. You're right here now.
I know.
I can watch you. Okay, so with the solar flare, sticking on that, I think one of us sent the other a video that described it perfectly, because my friend Emma was like, what the hell do you even mean by solar flares? Like, energetic, in an energetic sense, but also in a scientific sense. And this video that we share with one another, I think described it perfectly. And it was showing that the Earth, you know, we know is electromagnetic, and there's all these like layers of field kind of outlining the Earth. And when the solar flares come in, the neutrinos, when the neutrinos come in, or the solar flare or whatever, that particle, those rays, the, you know, I don't know what ray it is. I don't know. I always want to say gamma ray, but I think that's the only ray I know.
I think they're ultraviolet.
Okay. That one is coming in, and it's literally pushing the field out of the way and getting closer to Earth. So all of that solar energy, those sun codes, the cosmic energetic keys and codes that we get, and downloads and all that good shit, is having a thinner veil to reach us, because the physical rays from the sun are pushing away the electromagnetic field, which is why there was so much like, I don't know why I wanted to say hullabaloo, like I ever say that word. I'm like, all right, Steve-O.
Also, we don't know his actual name. We just kind of came up. Why did we come up with?
Okay, hold on. Quick story on Steve-O. His name is not Steve-O at all. But basically, he's, oh God, every time I freaking talk about him, he gets right here. He's like right here. He knows. Him and I are very similar in the fact that A, we like to be the center of attention. B, we like to like play little games So can I just pull off solar flares real quick and tell his story?
No, totally, because I feel like as soon as we started talking about it, he's like, but I thought you were talking about me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, literally. So it started with, I don't even remember how it started, but I just like felt him, saw him. I have like a space upstairs and was just like sitting there doing work. I started pulling cards and getting intuitive hits and writing things down. And long story short, he is a type of person who likes to like make things a little chaotic. He likes to like have his little fun and do his little snicker in the back. So he like opened up a text message, like a new text message on my computer. And I was like, why are you doing that? And then 2 seconds later, I get an email that I would have to text that person. And then he's standing behind me being like, he, he. And I'm like, okay. Or I'm like putting up my shield and he's like got his head pressed, his face pressed up on it. Not in like a creepy way, but like I'm right here though. You can only get me so far away. Or he tells me that he'll like hide the kids' work or materials. So that way, like the teachers get frustrated with them because they're like, you're supposed to keep, keep organized. And the kids are like, I swear to God, like I swear to fucking God, I put it in my folder. And he's in the back being like, and that chaos feeds him. He's not a negative being. He just feeds off of, as most energetic beings do, are going to feed off energy. And energy is more potent when we have an emotion that follows with it or that is in tangent, right? So if we're feeling lots of love or joy, like that can spark so much energy, but so can this like frustration and chaos and panic and annoyance. And that's what he tends to do. So he made it very clear that he wants to be a part of the podcast. He will be a part of the podcast at some point. Another side note, one of the other teachers that I'm good friends with, he is doing, this is the fucking type of school I work at, okay? I love it dearly. He's doing a study with the 8th graders on ghost hunting. Through the lens of like a scientific study and what makes good evidence versus bad evidence and how do we gather and make hypothesis and all that jazz. But he has ghost hunting equipment. And Steve-O is on the fucking edge of his seat like, let's go, bitch. Put the recorder out. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. And there are other little beings in here too, and he will not let them speak. Again, not in like, I'm a terrible being and I'm controlling them, but like, no, this is my time to shine. Someone's actually listening to me type of thing. Very head honcho, older white man. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Like, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Never mind that this building was an old talk radio for that very specific type of man. If you know what I mean.
Look who has the mic now.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to say it. And yet we're still sharing it with him because that's how women operate.
Oh.
All right.
I feel like he took a step back like, oh shit.
I know.
And the interesting thing with this season is going to be the fact that like Victoria and I work very intuitively. So we're both going to pick up things, but you're not going to see or hear anything. So it's just going to be like, la, la. Which, oh my God, reminds me so much of my fucking mother. Her and all her witchy friends being like, oh my God, last night. Did you hear that? Everybody stop. Did you feel that? And that's going to be us. So his name is not Steve-O, but he gives Steve-O energy because he wants to be chaotic and like doesn't really follow the rules. You know what I mean?
Like kind of a jackass is what we're getting at. In the most entertaining way,
yes,
right?
Of course. I love jackass.
This is what I had come up with. That this is going to be our gateway drug season.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've been operating, right, in the Pleiadian and the cosmos and the 5D and beyond and like all like out of here, right? And how I think a lot of people get introduced to energy and the paranormal and spirit, right? Like pure spirit is through ghost encounters.
Yes. Which is literally something on my list because I really can't like make a time map for it, but I feel like so many people around me are either just awakening to that side of things, like energy and spirits and like oh, I need to cleanse my house and, you know, all of these things. And okay, I feel like you just moved a fucking mountain out there. Did you hear that? Okay. Anyway, Steve-O, please. I need a button that's just like, Steve-O, please. But I feel like so many people are starting to really pay attention. And whether it's because they're awakening, the veil is thin from the solar flares, whatever. So are you experiencing that too? Like, are people around you just like talking more ghost shit? Or is it just me?
Yeah, I'd say so, because we're obviously like safe spaces for people to come to with the, oh my God, guess what I experienced? And I know you're not going to think I'm weird because you're definitely more weird than I am. So it's really great to have like a safe space for people to come to with their weird shit.
Yeah. So I really do think, because like literally what I wrote down is the importance and what I've experienced and learned about being in the 3D, and like just reflecting on that time where like I finally got to meet the 5D and was like, why the fuck am I here? Like, it's not suicidal ideation. It's, I am ready to press the restart button because I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? But now, and you know, this is something I've been practicing, but now I'm at the stage where I'm like, holy shit. What a fucking great ride to, okay, to be human. I'm like, do we like this light better? Did he do that for us?
I felt like he was rearranging shit. I'm kind of creeping.
Too much?
Let me just angle this way, maybe.
Now we're like dark and mysterious and blue. All right, Steve. He's like, let me set the tone.
Now the Pleiadians are, he's like, I'm a professional. You are.
He's like, hold on. The lighting in here? He's like, I've been on talk radio. Okay.
As I was cruising up to this building, it gave me like mega 80s flashbacks to like,
sure.
You know, that like 80s theme song playing. And I'm like, fuck, that was like, well, a long time ago. Like a lot of people think that's like old. Like when we were growing up, that's like what we would have been thinking, like, oh, the 1960s, right?
Yeah.
Or 50s or 40s. I don't know. Let's stop math right now.
No math. Not girl math, not ghost math. But yeah, I really, and myself too, am being called to come back to my roots of being 3D, of playing with this vessel being an energetic circuit. And I've been getting back into ghost shit. I'm like, Pleiadians, you're right here. I don't need to, you're here already, you know? But I'm like, let's get the ghosts out. The friendly ghosts. But let's get the ghosts out. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, the whole point of my intent of being here on this podcast is to talk about things from the energetic perspective. And it is so important to me at this time to bring up vampirical energy, because vampires are not entities who suck your blood. They suck your energy. And they are your friends, your family members, your coworkers, your whoever is either you're willingly or unwillingly giving your energy to. And that very much looks like through the form of your attention. And I just recorded a little freak check talking about this real quick, because all of our eyes, well, many of our eyes are on what's happening in Gaza, in the Middle East. And it feels so wrong to be recording this and acting like la-di-da. We get this privilege of talking about ghosts and energy, and to not acknowledge how draining it is to witness, or to then go have to seek the actual truth, because the goddamn news is not even giving us the truth anymore. And so we don't even know exactly, right, what's happening unless we go out and seek it from reputable sources. And so it shows the power of discernment, of knowing what your own truth is, which we've talked about 5 million trillion times, and we're not going to be a broken record, but more so give examples of how it is being played out right now in the world. And what we can ultimately do about it. Like, of course, there's the don't support these businesses or, you know, vote with your dollar kind of mentality. But from an energetic perspective, are you holding a vision of peace when you think about what's going on? Or are you perpetuating fear? And this, you know, kind of ties into the evolved empath, where you can feel what someone else is feeling, but that does not mean you take on their energy. And so when you are thinking about Gaza, when you are thinking about innocent lives and these horrific acts against humanity, holding a vision of peace should not make you feel guilty. And that is very much what we've been programmed to think. And I want to acknowledge it because it's bullshit, and it's okay to envision peace. It's okay to take time out of your meditation, out of your practice, whatever it might look like, and to hold a vision of a ceasefire taking place now. And that collective thought is so much more powerful than we have been programmed to believe is possible. So,
and they want, you know, like you said, there's that guilt and shame when we visualize peace or when we find peace in ourselves during these trying times. But what they want you seeing is the word ceasefire with how terrible things are, because that negates the energetic imprint of peace, of unity, of people having their fucking rights. You know what I mean? It's about, yes, speak to it, ceasefire, vote with your dollar, talk to your family about it, you know, share information, but that doesn't always have to be video upon video upon video of murder, of genocide. It's important for us to see it because it does evoke emotion. And as I mentioned earlier, emotion has that strong energetic force. But if you continue to have that emotion be one of fear, of dread, of, you know, the world is going to shit, and it very much looks like it is right now. But the vision we have to hold is that it's giving us an opportunity to unite, which was never there before. They've been at war and separate for fucking ever. This is the first time that people are paying attention, or majority of the people are paying attention outside of the country. So it's about using that as an opportunity to envision unity. It's not new that they've been at war or discriminated against or secluded from the world. But what is different is we get to visualize something different. We get to put that forward. And I think also the amount of times that we're seeing these horrific videos continues to desensitize us. And then we don't have that big emotion when we see it. And we can't enact change because it's, there's another bombing. There's another school shooting. There's another murder. And we shouldn't be able to brush those things off. And we do because we repeatedly see it over and over and over and over and over. And that's not helping anyone involved. Never mind, can be very triggering for people who have family there or who have experienced something similar. So it's holding that vision for peace and unity and being mindful of how you are engaging in this information and sharing it with others.
Because like any nightmare, it's intended to wake you up.
Maybe just like 2 seconds of like visualizing unity because I'm like hurting. Okay, lights back on. We're out of the darkness.
We needed a vibe.
A vibe switch.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? Coming back to ghosts. Can I tell you a fun story? So it's very interesting talking about awakening that children are so energetically sensitive. Did you see? I'm like, fuck, this is going to be the whole season. Oh.
There's been like a hair floating around too.
There's like something.
Which is
like
very
a mist or like a flowy thing. I don't know. I digress, Steve-O. I know I'm talking about ghosts again. Get out of here. But so the kids and I went to Lone Fir. I'd never been. Gorgeous cemetery in Portland. And the concept was to walk around, get the history of it, see like the major hits, you know? And then we were going to break up into groups and they were going to be able to explore and use the EMF reader and use the recorder and try to capture some evidence. So of course, I just happened to get the kids who are very energetically sensitive. I already handed out crystals on the bus. I'm like, take this, take this, take this. I did a whole thing where, you know, before we went in, Chris was talking to them about like, here's the plan, blah, blah. And I was like setting the stage like, hey, we're not taking anything home with us. We are here for them to learn, for them to have this scientific study. We're welcoming you to come and chat with us if you have your best intention. Everything else is going to stay away. So we walk in, immediately I am like buzzing. I have to sit and pull energy out of my hand. I'm just pulling. I'm like, I gotta get this out. This is crazy. And I start noticing, because I'm all the way in the back, Chris is all the way in the front, so we're making sure all the kids are where they need to be. And I'm noticing a couple of them keep like looking at their hands. They keep like walking weird. So as we start to like navigate and look at things ourselves, a couple of them are like, my hands are tingly, they're buzzing, they're hot, my feet feel heavy, they feel, and I'm like, oh, and they know me, they fucking know me, you know? So I'm like, oh, that's the energy. Here, you could try to pull it out, or you can shake it, or you can do whatever. And then we get to like this big crypt looking building, and I did not fucking like that one bit. And of course, Chris was like, this is where we're gonna stop and have a meeting. And I just kept backing up and backing up as far as I can and like shaking my hands. And that's when I was like, I have to start. And I start like moving my fingers for light language. And I'm just like, I can't, like, I do not like, I know it can't touch me. I know it can't touch them, but I don't like its intentions. So we pause, we're eating snack. I end up with these 4 kids and I'm like, okay, here's our plan. Gut rules. Follow your gut. If it's telling you to go in a direction, that's where we're going. We'll use the EMF reader. If it spikes, we'll sit down and read it. If not, and you just get a gut feeling, we'll sit down anyway. So we're walking, and I said to them, I go, listen to me. You're all feeling very sad about these young people or, you know, kids who have passed, and you're looking at their body, like in the ground, whatever. I said, they don't want that. They get that every goddamn day. They want a party. They want to know we're here and happy to see them. They're happy that we're honoring them. A lot of kids on their own were like clearing off stones, what is it, headstone, to like that got covered with like grass or things like that. And I was like, they're very appreciative of how we're honoring them and showing respect. I'm like, but they also kind of just want to have fun because everybody here is boring and sad. And they want more than that. So they're like, oh, okay, cool. Shifts the energy a little bit. We start walking around. They all get pulled in this one direction. They're like, I want to go this way. I'm like, okay. And the EMF reader spikes. And I'm like, ooh, ooh. And it spikes twice or 3 times. And we're like, okay, this is it. I look at the name. Her name's fucking Mary Souls. I go, okay, Mary, here we go. We're on a ride today. So we sit down and all of a sudden we all start getting really just like silly. And we're like, no, stop. We have to be quiet. We're trying to record. The recorder goes off and we're like, what the fuck? It turned off. Turn it back on. And then this girl starts putting out her hands. Because I told him, I'm like, you can give her energy because it takes a lot for her to be able to produce. I swear to God, it sounds like there's a fucking party going on the other side of this curtain.
I hear that too.
I'm like, always. But no one else is here, for sure.
No.
But she puts out her hands and she goes, Mary, can you please? And the kids kids kept saying that the squirrels and the birds were people reincarnated. They're like, I think it's that, you know, whatever. So they go, Mary, give me a sign. And as soon as the word sign came out of her mouth, a bird pooped on her arm. She goes, oh my God, okay, I'm taking that as a sign. And I'm like, all right, Mary, way to just like whatever. I'm like, Mary, can the sign be in the voice recorder or the EMF reader? 2 seconds later, this other kid picks up a daisy and goes, Mary, would you like this daisy? Bird poops on the daisy. And the daisy's small. So the fact that the bird poop landed right on the daisy.
That's wild.
And then he goes, okay, I guess you do. So we're all joking around. I'm like, all right, Mary, if there's anything else you got to say to us, do whatever. Come on in. Like, you're cool. But we got to like start moving to the next one. Nothing else happened. So we're like, okay. We tried to go to that crypt thing. Nothing went off. But I felt them. Not even like knocking on the wall, but being like, well, if you take down the shield, I'll spike it. And I looked at the kids and I said, I don't like this building at all. And I could tell you, we're not going to get any reading because they want me to pull down the wall of protection in order for you to get something. And I'm not going to do that. They all look at me and go, thank you. And then we see this ring of light that shouldn't be there, like under all this dark tree. And we're like, that's weird. Okay, let's go over there. There's this woman, Catherine, buried there. I don't remember her last name. And as soon as we sit down, I start picking up. And I'm not saying anything to the kids, really, but I'm just picking up. I'm like, oh, she's fucking pissed. She is not happy about either the way she passed or something that happened after her passing. And all of a sudden, we see Chris's group start kind of getting closer. And I made a comment first without even realizing. I was just like, oh. And the girl across from me, who's very energetically sensitive, first time I met her, I was like, can you tell me about yourself? She's like, I'm an empath. I was like, oh, baby girl, you are. She goes, I am so pissed right now. I'm so angry. It's like they're following us and I'm getting really mad about it. And in my head, I'm like, Catherine, back it up. Because we're picking up a little too hard. And they all, it was so interesting to go from this like laughing energy of Mary Souls into Catherine's space. And all of us got like pissed. Because we were just picking up on it. And then I was like, all right, let's shift. We tried to go somewhere else. Lightness came back again. And then on our walk out, one of the kids that was with me goes, Tara. And I wouldn't say I normally trust this child, but looking at their face, I really trusted what they said. They go, there's a crow feather sticking out of my backpack. And I was with them the whole time. There's no way. And they were like, I swear to God, I didn't do it. It's got to be Mary. It's got to be Mary. And then the crows start going, caw, 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 caw. And I was like, Mary. And now we're all laughing. And Chris's group, who was like very scientific, like, you know, they're like, we're still in a cemetery, which he's so right. People are grieving, right? But we're like laughing. We're like, Mary, you freaking crazy bitch. Like, obviously I'm not cursing at the kids, but so it was just really interesting to see how when you allow yourself to be open and inviting, that you very quickly, even if you're not aware of it, can embody that energy, can fully, like, we got silly, then we got angry, then we got like, it was such a flip of the switch because we were saying, hey, we're opening up to you, right? And that's where, if we're starting to play energetically, to be really intentional and mindful in what you're saying, right? Because a friend of mine, who will remain nameless until I ask them if I can share their name, has been telling me they've been seeing a lot of shadow people, having sleep paralysis, like waking up with like a scratch, like all this. And I said, you know, like, have you ever like, you know, and he's like, oh, I just tell them like, just come right at me. And I'm like, what in what fucking world? Because it ain't this one that you're paying attention. Like, it's always protection first. When we walked out of that cemetery, first thing I did, I was like, who wants Palo Santo? My whole group? Yes. Their whole group? Them. I was like, yeah, you don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it. But it's just so interesting. Like when you really allow yourself, you know, all of us experience these little ghostly things. The thing in the corner of our eye, something brushing up against us. And if you're going to turn around and be like, oh, it's nothing, then guess what? It's going to be nothing because they're not coming back to you. If you sit there and you're like, hey, I think that was this thing. And if you're for my best intention, I want to know more. I want to see more. I want to feel more. Then even if that one's not for your best intention, the next one's like, oh shit, everybody, she's got her headphones on. She's listening. You know what I mean? So it's just like opening that door and then floodgates open up. That's why Siva's like, oh, we're talking about ghosts? I fuck with you.
Let me ask a question on behalf of the audience. On behalf of our lovely listeners. So I think one thing that really has scared a lot of people about the idea of a ghost is the fact that your soul is trapped. And I know that we've talked in the past about having fragmented energy or aspects of your soul. So would you say that it's Steve-O as a whole, as a soul,
Hmm.
stuck in this earthly plane because he hasn't crossed over yet? Or is it a fragment of his soul because ultimately his oversoul went to heaven and then was potentially reincarnated? And does that affect how you're reincarnated if your fragment is still stuck here?
Well, it's interesting concept to think about because me as a whole soul right here, right now in this body is just a fragmented piece of my oversoul.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the reincarnation piece, will you be able to reincarnate? Yeah, because that's only one sliver of you. Will it affect your reincarnation? For fuck sure, because you're stuck here for a reason, and that's karmic ties, and that's lineage trauma, and that's past life trauma. Like that's, we talk about how that's happening simultaneously. So there may be a version of you who isn't physical, but is stuck on Earth. God damn, I never thought of that. That's fucking crazy. Because Steve-O is not a piece of his fragmented self here. It's his whole self who is here. He needs help crossing over. And I got very clear instructions because I've done many crossovers before that I am not to cross with him. I usually walk them through and say, now that you're on the other side, you know you're safe. I get to go back. They were like, he's got to walk himself. And I don't know why or what that means. Maybe it's just he's got to do it. Maybe it's because there's something going to happen if I cross over with him. I don't know. But it's his whole self. And it's a lot to do with karmic ties in a father partnership. So whether it's his father or him being a father, or stepfather even, there's something to do with the father that he has not put to rest, still holds a lot of guilt, but is like showing that as this like, I don't fucking give a shit, even on the other side, which tells me that like,
did you hear that?
No.
He was just like stomping.
Oh, girl, if we stay here long enough, the amount of footsteps and voices and whispers you hear.
I have not been here this late at night, and I am like full body chills right now. So
he also loves to call your name.
Oh, hell no.
He like mimics, like you think you know that voice, and then you look around and you're like, no one's fucking here.
We're holding hands out of here and running.
Who knows? Maybe we'll bring the EMF reader down here one time. That'll be kind of fun.
I think it is important to note that there are, the soul ties when having children. It really does tether your soul to Earth. And I think there are a lot of souls, a lot of humans in this lifetime choosing not to have children because they don't want to be tethered to Earth any longer. They want to go to their next destination.
Whoa.
And I feel like I'm one of them.
I never thought of that. Clearly, I'm like, tether me, bitch. You know? That's crazy. That's really crazy. I'm also tethered to all these damn kids that I've been teaching, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's okay. As much as I hate it, I love it on Earth. I really do. And going away this weekend to Mount Rainier, like, I was just crying at Earth. I was like, look at her. Look at her. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Look at her. She's so beautiful, so powerful. And we're just like, screw you, Earth, with everything that we do. Like, what in the world are we doing? But that's an interesting concept about like choosing not to have children, to not be tethered to Earth one more time. Also, something that has been coming into my field lately is the concept of soulless bodies, which I feel like
Have you ever been to a dive bar in Portland, Oregon?
I feel like that kind of borderlines where people are like, okay, put on your tinfoil hat, girl, and you're in a conspiracy theory. But I genuinely feel, and there has been people who channel and other, you know, quote unquote professionals in the spiritual realm that have said like, oh, I remember watching a video the other day of this person who was channeling and said, oh no, it wasn't channeling. They were in like a, you know, when they do like the hypnotizing meditation.
Like past life regression.
Yeah, but like in deep hypnosis. And the person was like, oh, actually, I'm fresh here. At age 7, that soul was like, I can't do this anymore. And we didn't want a good body to go to waste. So we swapped.
Wow.
And I was like, I thought about how there hasn't been many, but there has been people in my life who almost on a dime, I was loud, almost on a dime, switched personalities, interests, like what they connected with. It was very strange and it hasn't happened. I don't know many people like that, but I can think of one or two where I'm like, fuck, did you get swapped out? Or what's been coming in my field is the concept of, you know, we're in this program, we're running this matrix. There may be not enough souls ready to sign the contract, but needing to fill the space. So just like computers, you know what I mean? Like NPCs that are like walking along with us and don't really have much more than just to engage with us, to help us evolve, to help us like whatever. Ooh, that light change. I'm going to take that as a yes. So all those people, I'm just going to be the conspiracy theorist. All those videos of like glitches in the matrix where that person is like freezing or redoing the thing. Yeah, bro. It's because they're not a soul. They're just like, I feel like this is getting so crazy. I don't know. Episode 1, I'm getting real loopy.
Or let's like swap it on the other side, right? Where there are so many souls who want to come to Earth that they're creating these AI robot bodies that they're programming, right? But like souls will be able to slip into them. And I really want us to acknowledge that being in the human body is a really sacred, limited thing that's being tested right now. In that is, I think, the approach many people are supporting unknowingly, most likely, Tesla drivers. I'm like, if you're going there, I'm going there too.
Yeah, let's episode 1, welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just been so many things where lately I'm just like, damn, this really all be a game.
It is. Are you having fun?
I am now. And I'll get more into it in other episodes about like some of the cycles that have come through. Surprise, surprise, in my romantic relationship, that really rocked me. And I was just like, what the actual fuck have I been doing for 7 years? How the fuck, even prior to that, but like, how the fuck have I not picked up on this shit before? And it seems so like, duh. And I was like, Andrew, this thing. And he's like, yeah, duh. So I'm excited to get a little bit more into that. But I know we're probably coming to the end of episode 1. It feels really good to be in the studio with you.
Oh my God, it sure does.
And I'm excited to see what this season brings.
It's only just begun, baby.
Steve-O, we'd really appreciate it if you like kept it at a bare minimum unless we invited you in. Imagine putting up a mic for him. Ugh. And being like, bro, whatever you can.
I just got like a little cold brush.
When I sat down, I was like, ooh, cold. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for episode 1. And I hope we didn't get too far off the rails. We kind of went all over the place today.
All comes back to energy, though.
It always does, because that's all we are.
We love you.
We love you.